Welcome to TRL Radio with your hosts, Eric and Michelle Hall.
Your average Joe experts in simplified health. Welcome back to TRL Radio. We are your hosts, Eric and Michelle Hall. And today we are going to address the topic that we received the second most questions about regarding our health transformation. Now, that first question we always got, what did you do to lose all that weight? And everyone's always looking for
the one thing.
What's the one thing you did to lose weight? And I'm like, man, it would be nice if it was just one thing.
Right, 100%.
But the truth is, there's no magic bullet. There's no one thing. It's a lot of things, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the second most.
The second most asked question we got was, how did you lose all the weight while you were eating all of that amazing food?
Yes.
Because we ate some amazing food.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. Because what we realized through all of this is that food is so much more than fuel.
Yeah. And no hate to them. There's a lot of people in the health and wellness space that are like, food is fuel and you just eat to survive, eat to live. And we're like,
I don't want to do
for
that.
us, again, no hate to them, but like, no, like we're foodies.
We're foodies.
It reminds me of like, man, going way back, Matrix, where when Neo is in the Matrix and they're eating like the food and it doesn't really have any taste to it. And the person's like, it doesn't need taste. It just needs your amino acids and it needs this and it needs that. And they're like, that's terrible. Food needs flavor. So anyhow, whenever I think about food as being fuel, I think about that scene from the Matrix. Shout out to Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. So anyhow, so we lost a ton of weight. So that's the number one question we got. So we lost between the two of us combined, we lost 200 pounds and 6 feet of fat together. And those aren't just estimates or guesses. We measured. We tracked it. We measured. And so like a 6 foot, 200 pound person, like that's like the average size of like a man today. Mm-hmm. Between the two of us, we lost a full person. And we still ate amazing.
Right. And we were so excited about like the weight that we were losing and the progress that we were seeing. We'd post these pictures online, right? Look at what we had for dinner today. It was so cool. It was so good. And it's super cool because we're still losing weight. And that's what got people questioning. How are you eating that? That's not a plate of, brown rice, chicken breast, and steamed broccoli.
Right.
This is this colorful, flavorful meal that looks like you'd get it at a restaurant. It was elevated and fancy and whatever. And not that everything we ate was fancy, but it had flavor.
Well, it was like those, it was a lot of those center recipes. And so we were posting them and like tagging center and things like that. And like just to kind of get center some recognition because they were brand new at that time. And then kind of like, I don't want to say forgot, but people would be like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Right. Like, I remember that we have a friend who, again, was like, oh my gosh, you're losing all this weight. And he was overweight and he had lost some weight. And he saw the pictures and he was like, Eric, like, I don't understand. He's like, I'm working with a nutritionist. In order for me to lose any weight at all, he gave me this really strict diet. I was like, if you don't mind, can you shoot that over to me? And when he did, it was literally like a spreadsheet, but it was the simplest spreadsheet there because it was basically like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or not breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it was like protein shake for breakfast, salad for lunch, and then for dinner it was like chicken breast, broccoli, rice. And
it was the same thing. It was the same breakfast.
It was like Monday. You didn't need a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday box. It was literally that's all he ate.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And I remember I asked him. I was like, his name's Bobby. I was like, Bobby. I was like, do you want to eat like that the rest of your life? And he obviously he was like, no. Like very few people want to eat like that their entire life. I was like, I think what's going to end up happening is like, you're going to get bored with that and gain the weight back. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a hater. And so, but that's exactly what ended up happening. I'm like, so we ate amazing food and that blew him away.
Absolutely. I think about all the times people would invite us over for dinner, right? And they knew we're trying to lose weight, we're trying to be healthy, make some changes as we were in the midst of it, but we want to get together with friends. And so we would always get the question, oh, what are your dietary restrictions?
Right.
What are the things you can't eat? What can I make that is okay for you to eat? And we appreciated the question because we knew the heart it was
It
coming
came from a
behind.
good place.
They wanted to support us in any way they could. And so we were super thankful for that. But we'd kind of look back and be like, dude, just make whatever you want to make
Right.
and we'll eat it. And they're like, well, no, but we don't want to do like pizza. And like, if you want to do pizza, if you want to do whatever, we're not going to turn our nose up at it and say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't eat that. It's not on our list of foods that we're allowed. We're like, we're here to spend time with you. Whatever you put before us, we're going to eat.
Yeah, we weren't the people who were like, make what you want. We're going to bring our own healthy food.
Right.
And we unpack our healthy food as they're eating whatever. Like, no, like, make what you want. And then, like, on the same token, like, we'd obviously have people over. Like, we love hosting. We love having people over. And we would make food, and everyone would immediately assume that we broke our diet, if you will, because, oh, well, they're not going to eat their healthy food with us coming over because, you know, they want to make a meal. Nope, this is what we eat all the time.
Yep.
And we would have dessert.
Of course.
Because
you have to have dessert.
Right. Well, it's funny because you don't have to have dessert.
You have to have dessert.
But whenever you go over someone's house,
It's expected.
dessert is there. Or we
Yeah,
have
right.
people over, it's like dessert. And like,
It's not like you have it every night,
No.
but if you have company over, dessert
what's
is
for
part
dessert?
of it.
Yeah, that's whatever. It's a cool thing, I guess. You know, it's just,
I am here for it. Anytime there's a reason to have dessert, I'm showing up with my fork. So
right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I love dessert, so I'm not trying to hate on that at all. But yeah, like people would just automatically assume that, like, and then they would, or especially if we made it, the food they would eat, they'd be like, this is so good, it's so this. And the question we get a lot is like, oh, is this good for you? Or is this healthy or whatever? And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But there's some reasons why the way we were eating was working out for us. And so,
yeah, absolutely. So as we were losing weight, never once did we count macros or micros or calories or fat or carbs or anything like that. We never did advanced math to figure out what we were eating for any meal.
right. I mean, we paid attention to a few of those things, but we
Right.
didn't count them up. We didn't write things down. I tell you one thing that I know for sure, which is the big thing, that two big things that, like, we obviously have notes here we're looking at: calories and fat. We never looked at those.
Right.
Never. We never one time looked at that. I remember people would ask us, oh my gosh, how many calories did you eat in a day? And I'm like, I don't know. Oh, well, how much fat did you eat? Yeah, I don't know. We definitely paid attention to carbs.
Right.
Not counted, just we were very mindful of carbs, right? Not that carbs are bad, because they're not. And again, we'll get into that a little bit later, but we were mindful. But we really didn't, I love that you said that. We did not do advanced math.
No. One thing we did do was really drastically reduce the ultra processed foods
Right.
that we eat, and we really drastically reduced added sugars. We
Right.
minimized our added sugars there. Those were the two things that it was like, okay, like living where we live, you can't cut them out completely. You could, but you'd have a miserable existence because
Yeah.
we live in a world where ultra processed foods are everywhere and sugar is in everything. But we were very mindful of the things that had the added sugars, and we limited it. And then the ultra processed things, we also really cut that out a lot.
Right. And just kind of like just a mini side note here. So there's this term called health washing. So you think about like added sugars, right? Or whatever. So we minimize that. It does not mean that everything we ate was like, you know, the sugar-free version of something. So for instance, you'll see, we recently just saw like Oreo cookies, right? There's a sugar-free version of Oreo cookies. So let's just pause for a minute here, because if you eat that sugar-free Oreo cookie and you're like, oh, it tastes a little different, but man, it is still really good with no sugar. Unless the person is a wizard, there's something they're doing to that to make it still taste good. And traditionally, if you were to look at like an Oreo ingredient list, which isn't great, but the sugar-free Oreo ingredient list is usually a little bit longer because there's a lot more chemicals in it.
Right. A lot more words that you can't pronounce.
Right, because it
or
still
don't recognize.
has to taste good. And so there's this health washing of like, oh, sugar-free. And we'll get into this in a second here, but like, it's probably better just to eat the regular Oreo with the regular sugar in it as opposed to all the extra ingredients, right?
Instead of, indulging in as many, sugar-free or fat-free or gluten-free. Like, these all sound like things that are good for us, right? Well, they're free
they could be. They can be. But it doesn't mean they are.
Right. Because if they're removing the fat, again, what are they putting in instead that makes it taste good? It's chemicals. Like, just eat the fat.
Right.
That's where that moderation comes into play, right? Where there is no good or bad. It's not like, oh, this food is evil and this food is glorified, right? Like, food is food. There are foods that will help you get to your goals much more quickly, and there are foods that will be a hindrance. But if you want the Oreo cookie, just eat the Oreo cookie. Right. Just do it in moderation, maybe not every night.
Right, yeah. As a rule of thumb, we would say stay away from fat-free and sugar-free because there's probably added chemicals in, right? And just as a side note, the fat in food is not the same as the fat in your body. Not the same.
Right.
It's not the same. They're different topic for a different podcast. But as we're talking about food here as well, the biggest thing that we did is we planned. Right? We planned. That was a lot on you in regards to like you're the shopper, the meal planner for our house. We would plan. So if we were going to have a more heavy carb meal, well, then we would back off on the carbs earlier in the day, right? We would say, okay, well, we're not going to do the toast or English muffin for breakfast, or we're not going to have a big sandwich for lunch, right? Because we knew that dinner was going to be a little bit more.
Right. If we were having people over and I knew I was going to be making a chocolate peanut butter cup cheesecake.
Right.
Okay, so maybe I don't have, a lot of times after dinner. I'm someone who likes to finish on sweet, and I know it's a me problem, but I'm like, even just one little bite of dark chocolate, or I have like my sea salt dark chocolate covered almonds. After dinner, I like to just have one or two, and it's not that I need to gorge myself on sugar, but I just like to finish sweet. If I know I'm about to have a piece of chocolate peanut butter cup cheesecake, then maybe a couple nights before that, I won't finish with my little sweet treat. I will, put that off because I know I have a big sweet treat coming in a couple days.
Yeah, it's just planning. Like, we plan for so many things. You're going on vacation in order to have, I think we went to Disney, this is a couple of years ago now as a family, and all the planning that we put into going to, because if you're going to go to Disney, like,
you're going to spend that kind of money.
You almost got to get like a Disney vacation degree to make sure you do it correctly and like utilize the money the best or whatever.
There are businesses that make lots of money doing that, actually, selling programs to teach you how to go to Disney and spend your money the most wisely.
Yeah, so there's all this planning involved. Why don't we plan for our health?
Right.
You plan for a vacation, you plan for a job, you plan for... Why don't you plan for your own health? Guess what? Your vacation doesn't matter if you're sick. Your job doesn't matter if you're sick. We plan for all these things, but yet when we got to plan for our health, we just are like, oh, well, I guess it'll just happen.
It will not.
It will not. Plan. You've got to do some planning. And that's what that's really the biggest thing that we did to help us get into that.
Absolutely. So what about, though, those meals where they're childhood favorites? Maybe you have kids and you're like, my kids aren't going to eat anything that doesn't come in the form of a chicken nugget or macaroni and cheese noodle. Like, that's what my kids eat. Okay, we get it. So we had we still have 4 kids, but we had 4 young kids that are now adults. And so we understand that. And that's where we started to implement what we call transformative cooking, right? So you would have things like your mac and cheese or your chicken nuggets or your sloppy Joe. Think of the can of manwich, right? Your hamburger helper, rice-a-roni, pasta-roni. I mean, we were a family of 6 on a budget. And I tell you what, back in the day, I don't know how much it costs now because I haven't bought it in forever, but I could get a box of pastaroni for 99 cents. So I would get 2 of them, and then I'd buy like some Polska kielbasa and slice it up into little like medallions. And that was like $5. So I could feed our family of 6.
And then we would always do the crescent rolls,
Pillsbury
right?
crescent rolls, yep. So you could feed a family of 6 for less than $10, and we were full. Those were our staples, right? And so we get it. Like, you're on a budget, you're looking for inexpensive ways to eat. The first thing you're going to grab is usually in a box or a can. We understand. Truly I do.
Yeah,
because I've been there.
Yeah, that was our life. I mean, like, I remember, like, it's interesting sitting here now, but we would think that, like,
we're eating healthy.
We eat healthy. Like,
we have our starch, our protein, and we throw like some corn on the side or something, right? Oh, that's our veggie. We're good to go.
Yeah, we and everyone thinks they eat healthy, right? And that's not trying to slam people, but like when you start understanding the ultra processedness that comes with those foods, it's really crazy. So yeah, but those things are amazing. You don't want to
give those up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't like. So what we started doing was taking some of those classic family favorites, kid-friendly foods, and we gave them a bit of a glow up.
Yeah.
Right? We started creating our own recipes based on these boxed and canned versions. We'd go to Pinterest and look for ideas, and even Center, like you mentioned already, had some great like versions of these. And we'd make them from scratch. And here's the thing. If you're making it from scratch, it's also not that expensive.
Right.
You're buying the actual sloppy joes, for instance, right? It doesn't take that much longer. It does take longer than opening a can and cooking the beef and mixing it together. But it's not that much longer. And it's real ingredients. And just fun fact, if you go to our website, these are the types of meals. These are the types of recipes that we have posted, things that we've taken and said, okay, these are some of our favorite meals. Let's give them a glow up and let's make them adult. And they also taste better.
Yeah,
and your kids will eat them.
Yep. Yeah, they're family because we have 6 people, especially when we were going through this big, this weight loss, like 6 people in our house, all very different palates.
Right.
These are recipes that everyone liked. And the resource that it does take a little bit more of isn't the money, but it is the time. But again, we just talked about planning. It's worth it, right? It's worth it. Again, the answer, probably if we were to give one answer to that question, how did you eat all that great food and still, we planned for it. We set aside the time to make it, plan for it, and then obviously executed on it. So for those recipes, like you just said, go to the rudimentarilife.com/recipes. Mm-hmm. We'll put a link in the show notes as well, but check it out. Like, there's some amazing, amazing recipes on there that we still, you still go to.
I use our website for some of the recipes because I don't have them written anywhere else.
An Instagram reel on it like the other day, right? Of like you.
I was like, Stink, I don't know where I have this recipe, but I know I put it on our website, so I'll go on because it's easier than getting out my binder full of recipes and thumbing through and trying to figure out where it's at. I'm like, oh, it's on my website. Let me just pull that up real quick. So,
right. I know there's one dish specifically that that kind of like sparked all this for you. Even the other day you were thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. So I actually had to call my mom because there was a recipe. There's a couple recipes that it'll come in my head every once in a while. And I think, oh my goodness, what I wouldn't give to have that again, because it just reminds you of childhood, right? Think of buttered noodles and I would add Italian dressing. Why? But that was something that I was like, I would make buttered noodles and add Italian dressing to a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And that was my thing. I don't know why, but it makes me think of my childhood. But the one in particular that I called my mom about was it was a casserole dish. And I knew it was shredded chicken and probably Campbell's cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup and stovetop boxed stuffing mix on top. And then it had like peas in it, which is shocking that I liked peas as a kid, but I don't know, the combination of all of it was just comfort. It just was delicious comfort to me. And I was craving it for whatever reason. And so I called up my mom and I was like, Mommy, Mom, can you give me that recipe? Because I just really want it. And so she actually had told me, she's like, okay, so I'm going to give you the actual recipe. But she even said, she's like, I haven't made this way in this long. I've changed it a bit. And I was like, cool, because that's what I'm going to do. So I took the original recipe and I made it from scratch. There was no cans. There were no boxes. I just was like, okay, how can I make this? And this is my phrase of the day, give it a glow up.
Right.
And I did. And my kids had never had it before. So when I served it, I was like, okay, be gentle, guys. Like, this is my childhood that you're critiquing. But I remember Maddie looked and was like, Mom, this is straight fire. Which, if you don't realize, that's like what all the cool kids call really good things.
Now that you said it, they don't anymore.
No. I mean, I am really super cool and hip. So when I say it, it's okay. But she's like, Mom, this is straight fire. So if she said it, you know it's good. But yeah, and it was delicious. So it was like this thing that I loved that I was able to take and make this version that, no, is it the most healthy meal you can have? No. But is it healthier and something you can have on a somewhat regular basis? Absolutely.
Right. And that's what it is. Like, this idea of like healthy and not healthy. Like, I know you talked about like the food is not good or bad or evil, or there's more and less helpful. Anything that you eat all the time is not going to be healthy. If you eat carrots every day for the rest of your life, your skin will turn orange.
You'll be missing out on
and you'll be missing out on so many other nutrients, right? So even something like carrots, right? Like, everything kind of has its value, right? Even the Oreo has its value if it's eaten the right way and in the right context or whatever, of possibly being a stress reducer, right? And I'm not saying that like you need to eat Oreos every time you're stressing out, but depending.
If that brings you a comfort and to have it, I mean, this is coming from someone who Oreo cookies are one of my kryptonite-like things. Like, if they're in the house, I don't want to say I can't say no, because you can always say no. But what I have learned is if they are in the house, for one, I've probably been the one that has brought them in the house for whatever reason. But if I have 4 or 5 cookies with a little glass of milk, because it has to be with milk, I have to dip them in the milk and then finish the milk, which is chunky by then. And I don't know why that's still okay, but for me it is.
Yeah, especially considering you that don't like chunky liquids and anything else.
It's like cookies and cream.
You're a walking contradiction.
I totally am. I'm okay with it. But like, I love that. And again, it's something that reminds me of childhood, because I did that as a kid. And to have that every once in a while is okay. My body can handle that. I have it every night, or I have 20 cookies and a 16-ounce glass of milk. Okay, now maybe there's an issue there, and I need to work through that. But to have it every once in a while is okay.
Yeah. So what we're saying, just to reiterate this whole entire thing, is that food is more than just fuel. It's more than just about giving our body energy, right? And that's such an extremely important point. And the energy is, yes, that's part of what it does. But we don't want to forget that food is also community. Mm-hmm. And that food is also memories. And food is also tradition. And food is also celebration. Yeah. I mean, you think about it, like, we are in a time where food is so readily accessible that we can't even comprehend the idea of having to like forage and go find food. But that's like what our ancestors had to do, right? Food every day wasn't a guarantee. You had to go get it. You had to go hunt the animal. You had to go forage the berries. You had to go grow the garden and pick this. Like, those are things that had to be done in order for you to eat. And when the big kill happened, right, the hunters went out and came back with the big whatever that they killed, they'd bring it back and there was like a celebration. And it wasn't just 2 or 3 people that were eating that, watching Netflix, right? It was like the whole community, the whole tribe came together and everybody helped prepare it. From whatever jobs, everyone was part of preparing it. There was a celebration. There was storytelling. It was generations of people from grandparents to grandchildren and so on and so forth that were there. enjoying this food. And again, it wasn't like this like ravenous thing where everyone just mindlessly ate. It was like this celebration. It was purposeful. It was all these extra things that we forget is so important about food, and that our bodies need and require and demand from us when we eat, that we have lost because we have drive-through. And we have microwaves, and we have pantries that are just loaded full of food that we go back and look, and there's a slew of things to eat, and we say, we have no food in this house. Right? So like food is so much more than just fuel. It's so much more than just, I have to have energy. It's just such a bigger component. There's so many other bigger components to food.
Right. As you were like talking through all that about its celebration and community, and everyone's has a part in it, it makes me think of like Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Like, and you think about when you're anticipating Thanksgiving dinner, right? Whoever's cooking it has the turkey going in the oven and the stuffing and the cranberry sauce and all these things. And you're smelling all of it throughout the day because it's a process.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner doesn't happen in it's not a 30-minute meal.
Right.
It would be wonderful if it was, but it's not. It is an all-day process.
Right.
And so you're smelling these things throughout the day, and you're literally salivating
for sure.
as you're smelling it. Your body is preparing to consume that meal.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it together as a family, as a community, making these dishes. And that has such an effect on our digestive system.
Yeah, that's where digestion starts, right?
Right.
It's exactly, our sense of smell is where digestion actually starts. It's like our body, like you said it perfectly, preparing our bodies for the food. And that's a big component that's missed in our instant food.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm not saying every meal has to be Thanksgiving, but more of them could be like that, right? That's naturally sometimes built in with the home cooking, right? Cooking from scratch.
And I think that's one of the things that gets lost in our fast food culture is these recipes.
Yep.
You think that get passed down from generation to generation. I've even just noticed how little this younger generation, the people that are in their late teens, early 20s, they don't cook anymore.
Right.
We're buying things, even if it's healthy, like, there's different companies that, things like HelloFresh and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
although you still have to cook those. There's a lot of ones where you just have the meals delivered and you heat them up. Like, this art of cooking is being lost. And so these generational recipes that have been passed down throughout the years are being lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think that that's something that we're missing. I hope that we can turn that around, because it's such an important part of your heritage and your just how your body even just is affected by food. As we talk about it, it makes me think of this story that I read one time where it was a book about female health, and it was a doctor who was working with different patients. She had this one patient that came in. She was a 20-something-year-old girl who had recently moved out of the house and came from an Italian heritage, very Italian family, homemade pasta and, sauces and all this all the time. And she was like, now that I'm out on my own, I'm going to cook healthy. I'm going to really hone in my nutrition here. And
hit the macros, hit the micros.
Really focused on all the things to a point where she was literally stressing over every single bite of food that she put in her mouth, making sure that it was quote unquote healthy, right? And her health was not doing well. She wasn't losing weight. She was actually hanging on to weight. A bunch of different other issues were arising. And so she went to the doctor who wrote this book and was like, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm doing all the right things. I'm eating all the right, the right amount of calories, the right amount of macros and micros and all this stuff, but I can't lose weight. Actually, I haven't been sleeping well. My digestive tract is a mess. And the doctor was like, so what did you used to eat before all of this started? And she got into, I was raised on, pasta and sauce and this and that. And she's like, for the next couple weeks, I want you to go back to eating that. Like, not every dish is pasta, right? But don't worry about what you're eating as much. Eat the way you normally would have before you moved out on your own. And so she did. And all of a sudden, the weight started coming off. Her digestive issues went away. And she's like, you are so stressed over every bite that you're putting in your mouth. Your body doesn't even know what to do with it. Right. Like it's holding on to everything because it's in such a state of chronic stress. And that's where sometimes just eating the thing that maybe seems less healthy is actually better for your body than eating the thing that is ultra healthy, you know. It affects that. That stress will affect you.
Well, yeah, when you think about it too, like what we just talked about with like the ancestors and things like that, like they had the food, there was a celebration, that food, like there was no stress. Like it was just this amazing time.
Yeah, they weren't like, oh wait, right. I can't eat this. I had,
right.
this, small wheat biscuit, whatever, yesterday, and so I can't have carbs today. No, you're just going to eat what's prepared,
Yeah. So the impact that stress has on our body and how we consume food is one of the main reasons why there's like this chronic obesity, chronic diseases in at least American culture, but in, our modern day, because of the stress, because we're so quick to want to get this quickly and get this done. And we're not even paying attention to what we're eating and how we're doing things. And so all this stress is just where our bodies, like you said, are just hanging on to weight, and we're not getting nutrients. It's funny, we're nutrient starved, but we're also obese because we're just eating so much food. And I think we're at a tipping point where people are starting to ask questions and be like, wait a minute, like something is not right here. I think what we've been getting taught has been wrong. We need to switch this up. But what you're saying there with stress, man, such a great story with stress there.
Right. I also, I just remember the time where we actually were having a family over, and it was a family that was specifically coming over to talk about nutrition. They had questions. They were looking to make some changes. And they were like, hey, can we come over? They were friends of ours. We're like, yeah, come on over for dinner. We'll work through some things. We'll share some stuff with you. We'll look into how we can work with you guys. And so my plan was to make this really good, healthy, delicious meal, a healthier dessert to show them, hey, here's some things that you can make that are delicious, but still good for you.
Right.
Well, my day did not go according to plan. I was just frazzled, and it was like an hour and a half before they were supposed to come, and nothing was prepared. Nothing was ready. I still had a million things to do before they got there. And I was like, babe, I don't know what to do. Like, I got to make this meal, but my day completely did not go the way it was supposed to. And you were like, you know what, why don't we just order some pizza? And I was like, Eric, I don't think you understand. This family is coming over to talk about health. We're going to eat pizza. Hey guys, have this pizza and our ice cream sundaes. That's what we're going to serve them. And you were like, it's okay. It's a great lesson that, hey, life happens, and the pizza and the ice cream sundaes, if you have them every once in a while, are okay. And in that moment, I was able to be like, okay, you're right. Let me just breathe. I was able to release that stress. I didn't have to worry about being in the kitchen. And then when they got there, we were able to just be with them and be in the moment and talk through it. And I wasn't in the kitchen stressing over trying to get the food on the table as their kids are running around. Like, it was such a more, it was a better way for me to spend my time.
Yeah.
Even though the food, the actual macros and micros and nutrients and all the things in it were far less than what, far less beneficial than what if I would have made something. But the time spent was more beneficial than anything we would have eaten.
That's it. And we've mentioned it before, but the number one tie to longevity and long health is relationships, more than even diet and exercise. So, so we have we went through actually 2 full podcasts talking about food and the best way, how we went about eating food to lose this weight, right? So we talk about eating the right amounts of the right foods at the right times in the right ways. We will put a link to those 2 episodes in the show notes. Go listen to them. It is a masterclass in how to eat. We talk about recipes, talk about specific foods, grocery lists. It is so good. And there's so many things in it that are so simple. And that makes so much sense, but that we miss in our modern day conveniences and things like that. So I would highly encourage you, please go back, listen to those. We'll put the links right in the show notes of our podcast. They were super good. But anyhow, so we have all this information, right? Someone's maybe thinking, okay, like what does what does a good plate of food look like? So help us out. Like, how do you put together a healthy plate?
Right. So as I'm thinking about preparing dinner, right? Because as much as you help, it's definitely, like we've already said, it's something that I enjoy cooking, and I, was raised cooking, so I don't mind doing it.
If you didn't cook, I would die.
This may be accurate. That may be true. So as I think about like a dinner plate, right? The first place I start is with protein, because whether you want to believe it or not, we are all protein deficient. Mm-hmm. None of us are getting enough protein. Unless you're putting 12 scoops of protein powder in every meal you eat, which maybe there's people out there doing that. I would suggest maybe not. There's better ways to get protein, but we're all protein deficient, right?
Yeah. So side note with protein, which throws in there and you keep going.
Yep.
Protein. Everything. Now, protein's having its time in the sun right now, which is great for the reasons that you just mentioned. This new food pyramid came out. And it's really prioritizing protein. Awesome. Great. Good. So wonderful. But protein by itself, right, is just one nutrient, right? It's almost like you think about this entourage of things, right? So you have just whey protein, or you have, there's a Dunkin' Donuts commercial where it was like this refresher drink they have. It's like packed with 12 grams of protein. Okay, like Dunkin' Donuts and health, like no hate, but don't necessarily tie together in my head. Protein's great, but it's great when it comes in its form, in its natural form, with all of the other amino acids and nutrients that come with it, right? So the protein you get from even like protein powder, or the protein that you get from a Dunkin' Donuts refresher, is not the same protein, even if the grams are the same, as the protein you would get from good, well-sourced meat.
Right.
It comes with a bunch of other things with it that you got. It's the entourage. You got to have the full, entourage. It comes with it. So anyhow, side note, sorry.
Absolutely. No, yeah. Get your protein. You can get it from a variety of places. And you'll have, some nutritionists or people that will preach, just chicken, just turkey, just fish. There's people that will say, bacon is downright evil, or, what we've learned is that variety is key.
Yep.
Eat the meats that your family likes. Be willing to try new things, right? But whatever protein your family will eat, beef and pork and chicken and whatever. Also eggs, Greek yogurt, nuts, seeds, beans and legumes even have protein in them. Eat all those different whole food varieties of protein.
Yes.
Whatever your family will eat. Start with that. You can go online to see serving sizes and things like that. I know protein is supposed to be like the palm of your hand or whatever,
right.
But very rarely were we ever measuring the exact
amount, I mean, if you're eating, one of the things that I learned is that if you're eating good quality whole food, your body will tell you when it's done.
Right.
It'll be like, oop, I'm good. Now, again, listen to our masterclass, because if you just pound down a steak in 30 seconds, you might be like, I'm still hungry. You're not. Right?
Your body needs to catch up.
You did not eat that food in the right way.
Yeah.
You're right. You ate it far too fast. But at the same time, with protein, with food, make sure that you're eating protein. Make sure that you're eating it the right way, and your body will tell you, hey, we're good.
Right. Absolutely. So after your protein, next comes your produce, right? So you want to load up on that antioxidant, nutrient-dense fruits and veggies, and then pack them with flavor. Here's where herbs and spices play a huge role in flavorful dishes. We had a bunch of favorites that we loved, and we added some new ones that I didn't even know existed.
Right.
Like cumin and turmeric. Just really flavorful things. And the nice thing about herbs and spices is that they really don't add, if you're speaking of calories and things, they don't add calories.
Yeah, they're free.
Just little flavor bombs. that can make even the veggies that your kids would typically turn their nose up to something delicious. So again, experiment with different spices and herbs, but make sure you're getting your fruits, make sure you're getting your veggies.
Make sure you're getting the best spice ever.
What's the best spice ever, Eric?
You've been following this podcast at all, you will know the best spice ever is cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
And I'm going to throw out the challenge again because it is not coming to fruition yet.
Yep.
Name me something that cinnamon doesn't make better. That's the challenge. We had someone who tried. All right.
Put it on salad. They were like, this is it. I'm going to get Eric. I'm going to put it on my salad and I'm going to be able to say, yeah, you're crazy. Cinnamon does not make salad taste better. And what did he say?
He was like, I now put cinnamon on my salad because it made it taste better.
There are, as I'm making dinner, Eric will joke and say, oh, did you add cinnamon yet? And there are certain things that I'm like, babe, I'm not adding cinnamon to this. But there are some things like chili. That is now, I would say, my secret ingredient, but I just gave it away. But I now add cinnamon to my chili because cinnamon works, sweet or savory. I'm telling you, he's not wrong, guys. He's not wrong.
So that's out there. Let us know if you give it a shot. So sorry, I had to do a little side there. So we have our protein.
I get it.
We have our produce with all of our spices, cinnamon.
All right.
Next.
And how about some complex carbs instead of those ultra-processed carbs? So think whole food. One ingredient, grains, veggies, legumes. Carbs aren't the enemy. Our body needs them.
It's a main energy source.
Absolutely. But what it doesn't need are those ultra processed ones.
Right.
So you think the difference between a potato and a potato chip.
Yeah.
Very different.
Right.
Very, very different. Your body is going to take them in very differently.
Yep.
Potatoes, great. Potato chips, maybe moderation.
Yeah, when you think about carbs, try to stay away from boxes. Like you said,
Right.
boxes and bags. When you're adding carbs to your meals, think about that, right? Even you think, well, bread. Well, try homemade sourdough, right? Homemade sourdough bread. There's no bag, there's no box. I'm not saying you should eat a loaf of sourdough bread every day, but that's a great complex carb and fermented food.
Right.
Throw on a plate.
And it's bread. It's bread.
Yeah.
Bread makes everything better.
Correct. I agree.
But honestly, it's planning. Planning your meals for the day, planning your meals for the week. Planning is going to be one of the most beneficial things you can do for your health. Obviously, leave room for flexibility because life happens, but always start with a plan. Always start with a plan. That was probably one of the biggest changes we made as far as food that helped us to be able to lose the weight and keep it off.
Yeah, we've talked about a planning rudimentary ritual. We've talked about it before in other podcasts with the popsicle sticks. So take a look back at that too. It helps with planning. That way it's not all on just you or one person.
Right.
But yeah, so food is more than fuel. It is so much more than that. We hope you got that out of it today. It is now time for our rudimentary ritual.
What do we got today, Eric Hall?
All right, so for our rudimentary ritual, we want to try in building into that community of eating food together as a family of at least 3 meals per week with as much of our family as possible. We want to eat at the table and hang out. It doesn't have to be dinner. It can be brunch, it can be breakfast or whatever. Dinner is usually the one that works out the best for us because of our schedules. But at least 3 per week. Now, the science says that that's the minimum effective dose, that if you can do 3 meals per week as a family, not only has it been shown to improve not only family quality, but improve nutrition, more fruits and vegetables are eaten, and less processed foods and sugars are eaten. So that's our rudimentary ritual, is that at least 3 meals a week with as much of our family as possible. Like our son is, traveling for work right now. Well, that, whoever's around, we'll make sure that we do that. So
absolutely. And then for our recipe this week, for this episode, we want to share that chicken casserole dish that was a staple of my childhood. We're going to share with you how I gave it last time. I'll say it. We gave it a glow up, and made it this delicious, nutritious, easy to put together casserole dish. So that'll be in the show notes.
And on our website.
The link.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll link it to our website. So, check it out.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. If you try it, share a picture. we'd love to know what you thought.
Yeah, always love to know what you think. Speaking of, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you found something valuable, something that you can apply to your life, something you can apply to your family's life that will improve it. Hopefully immediately. That's something easy for you to do.
Yeah. And if you are finding things from listening to the podcast that are helping you, please share that. Share it out. Share it with your friends. Share on social media. We need encouragement, right?
Right. Like we got a message the other day, like literally yesterday, and it was like the most encouraging thing.
Yeah.
Of someone who listened, explaining how they listened, like with their family, that they're things that they were doing, and we were like, "You are our favorite people. This is amazing." So please share.
I
that
literally
with us.
like messaged back, "This makes my heart so happy."
Yeah.
And it truly does. When we hear these stories of how the things that we're sharing are making positive, lasting impact and change in your family's lives, gosh, you have no idea how much that means to us. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yep. So comment that stuff on the episode, wherever you're watching, listening. Tag us on social media. We're at the Rudimentary Life. Send us messages. We love hearing that kind of stuff. We have so much coming your way. So make sure you're following us on whatever platform you are on. Follow us. We have so much more coming. Stay tuned to TRL Radio. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. If you want more of Eric and Michelle Hall and TRL Radio in your life, and honestly, who doesn't, head over to theRudimentaryLife.com.
There, you'll be able to find all the things, show notes, videos, step-by-step instructions for each recipe, more ways to connect with us and join in with whatever shenanigans we're getting into.
Yeah, and for extra credit, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app. We definitely appreciate all the love.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.